Looking at our Math 2 Honors Unit 7B trig review. So we're looking at number 1, our first set, we need to sketch the angle in standard position. So 315 degrees we know will be between 270 and 360. So it'll be in quadrant 3. If we went in a little bit further and looked for a reference angle, we want to think how much is it short of 360? And so if we do 360 minus 315, we get that it actually is a 45 degree angle right there. So the standard position would be this line. Now negative 175, if you want to add 360 to that, that gives you 185, which does give us a better idea of this being in quadrant 3 with 5 degrees past the 180. 720 is 360 times 2, so that means it goes around once, around twice, and then settles back on this original initial side. 3 pi over 5 we could convert by doing 180 over pi, get that into degrees. So really it's going to be 180 times 3/5, which gives us 108. So this we know it's in quadrant 2. It's past the 90 degrees by 18. So if we wanted to draw that down, 90 minus 18 gives us a reference angle of 72, but this side would be right here. You could also look at that and say, well, 3 pi over 5 is less than pi. It's less than 1 whole, 3/5, but it's past halfway, so it's going to be in quadrant 2. Negative 7 pi over 2, I'm going to add 2 pi to that. And 2 pi in that case would be 4 pi over 2. So this comes out to be now negative 3 pi over 2. If I add 4 pi over 2 to that again, it comes out to just be a pi over 2. Now pi over 2 is just on the 90 degrees. It's the vertical axis. It'll be right here. Last one, 11 pi over 16. I know that is short of pi because 11/16 is not bigger than 1. I know it's past half because that'd be 8/16. So it's been between 8/16 and 16/16. About right here. We could convert that and do 11 over 16 times 180, which comes out to be about 123.75. So that tells us it goes about 123 degrees, and so our side would be right here. Next we need to convert degrees to radians or radians to degrees. So I'm going to take 100 and multiply it by pi over 180. Now 100 over 180 I can quickly reduce to make that 10 over 18, and then go further, and that is now 5 pi over 9. Same process for 210. It's going to be 210 times pi over 180. Drop the zeros, I get 21 over 18. Then I can divide by 3, and I get 7 pi over 6. For negative 375, let's just multiply it out. So we get negative 375 times pi over 180. That's negative 375 over 180 pi. I can divide both of those by 15, and this comes out to be negative 25 over 12 pi. I want to get that to a little nicer form though, so I'm going to add 2 pi to that. And adding 2 pi, I'm going to add 24 pi over 12, which gives me negative pi over 12. So that would work. Or if I do that again, it comes out to be 23 pi over 12. So that is negative 375. Converted down, it could be here, here, or here. All of those are coterminal angles, but this would probably be the most useful one. Now we look at 7 pi over 3. We're going to convert that to degrees. So we take 7 pi over 3 and multiply it by 180 over pi. We divide out the pi's. 3 and 180 becomes 60 on top, so this comes out to be 420 degrees. If I want to find a nice coterminal angle, I subtract 360 and it comes out to be 60 degrees. 3 pi over 5. We multiply by 180 over pi. We could take the 180 and the 5 This leaves me with a 36 on top, so it's now 3 times 36, which is 108 degrees. Negative 17 pi over 12. We'll multiply by 180 over pi. Pi's are gone. 12 and 180 leaves me with a 15 on top. Multiplying out, that comes negative 255. Then I add 360 to that, and I get 105 degrees. For our next part, number 13 through 18, we need to give a reference angle for the given angle we have. So 120 degrees is in quadrant 2. 120 plus an additional 60 degrees would get us to 180, so our reference angle is 60 degrees. 240 degrees would go past the 180 to quadrant 3. It went 60 degrees past, so its reference angle is 60 degrees. Negative 390, if I add 360 to that, I get negative 30, which tells me it's going to go in the negative direction, 30 degrees, which puts it in quadrant 4 with a reference angle of 30 degrees. 7 pi over 3, if we would like, we can convert that to degrees. We get 7 times 60 is 420. Minus 360 leaves us with 60 degrees. So this is just a 60 degree reference angle in quadrant 1. 17 pi over 6. Let's subtract 2 pi from it this time, because 2 pi, instead of converting it to degrees, 2 pi would be 12 pi over 6. This gives me 5 pi over 6. Now 5 pi over 6 tells us it's pi over 6 short of pi, so that puts it in quadrant 2. Now pi over 6 we also know to be 30 degrees. Last one, negative 17 pi over 12. I'm going to add 24 pi over 12 to that and get 7 pi over 12. And now I can convert 7 pi over 12 times 180 over pi. I get 7 times 15 is 105 degrees. 105 degrees would be past 90. It would be past it by 15 degrees. So that leaves us with 75 degrees as the reference angle. For number 19, sine of 4 pi over 3. 4 pi over 3 is going to give a reference angle of 60 degrees. So we have root 3, 1, and 2 with both the x and the y negative. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so that'd be negative root 3 over 2. Cosine of 3 pi over 2 would be on the bottom of the vertical axis. At that coordinate, it is 0, negative 1. Cosine is the x value, so cosine of 3 pi over 2 is just 0. For 21, we have pi over 3. This is 60 degrees, root 3, 1, and 2. Cosecant is going to be the reciprocal of sine. So we want to, instead of do opposite over hypotenuse, we're going to do hypotenuse over opposite, which we simplify to be 2 root 3 over 3. Tangent of 7 pi over 6 is pi over 6 past pi, so that's 30 degrees. We'll go 1 root 3 and 2, making these both negative. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, negative 1 over negative root 3. Turns out to be root 3 over 3, and that is positive because it's a negative divided by a negative. Negative 2 pi over 3 is down in quadrant 3. It is a 60 degree reference angle. We're going to go root 3, 1, and 2 with both of those negative. Cotangent is adjacent over opposite, so that's negative 1 over negative root 3, which is root 3 over 3. For pi over 6, that is a 30 degree angle. In quadrant 1, secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so we're going to go hypotenuse over adjacent, and that comes out to be 2 root 3 over 3. Cosine of 0, at 0 our coordinate is 1, 0. Cosine is the x value, so our answer is 1. Don't know why I was writing 0. Tangent of 225 is 45 degrees past 180. So we go 1, 1, and root 2. for our 45, 45, 90, and then these are both negative. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, -1 over -1, or +1. Cotangent of -150, if we went -150, that leaves us 30 degrees short of 180. We fill in our triangle values. Cotangent is adjacent over opposite, so it'd be -√3 over -1, which is +√3. Cosecant of 450, before I go further, I'm going to subtract 360 from that, and I get 90 degrees. So it's actually cosecant of 90 degrees. At 90 degrees, our coordinate is 0, 1. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Sine is the y value, so the reciprocal of 1 is 1. Sine of -330, that comes all the way around and stops 30 degrees short. So sine of that will be 1/2, opposite over hypotenuse. Last one, cotangent of 180. 180 would be the x-axis on the left side. The coordinate there is -1, 0. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So that makes it going to be x over y. So in this case, it's -1 over 0, or undefined.